Yeah, so I'm in Portugal today. Benjamin's in India. I have a feeling we're going to have pretty good coverage around the globe. That's one of my favorite things about working on base, being in the base community. Is like I think it's like one of the few places on this planet where the majority of people are getting along. We're building things together, being constructive, focusing on like what makes us similar and unites us rather than like what divides us apart. So um, yeah, thanks all for sharing time to come here today, and also for people that watch this recording later. People in the chat here, Julio. Good morning, Julio. Yeah, if you want to, yeah, drop where you're in, where you're joining from. Do some shout outs to different time zones. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. Oh, got Chris in Bali joining. I'm so jealous. I've never been to Bali before. I'd love to go. I like to surf, so it's kind of like for people that don't surf, ultimate surf. Um, got Mexico. Awesome to have part of Latam joining in. I lived in Costa Rica for about 10 years, so part of this Base Around the World initiative where we're doing these four first build-a-thons. One of the areas is Latin America, and there's just so much opportunity there to build on chain. So got Swati here from India. All right, Freddie from Colombia, based in Austin. Super
Nice.
cool. And we got Brazil, Bom dia, Guilherme.
Okay, I think we have like folks from like all over the world, different time zones joining
All
us
right,
today.
we're
Like
around the
really
world.
good.
Let's go. We have a quorum.
Yeah,
South
basically,
Africa, Mexico.
it really aligns with the thing based around the world. Yeah. Okay, so folks, thank you for joining us today. I'm Anshuman from the Defolio team, and thank you for joining us today for this session on No Code with Base. Today we have Will from the Base team, who will be leading the session and will be showing you how you can build on Base without using code and all. So feel free to stay tuned in for the whole session. If you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box, in the chat box as well, and we will make sure that we are going to answer all of the questions around your project, around the hackathon in general, or about the session. So, Will, I think I will let you take on the session. And yep, here you go.
Perfect. Well, thanks for the intro, and just thanks again for everybody that's joining today. I see also Julio from Peru and Virginia, like moved to Virginia. We got another person in India. So just really appreciate you all sharing time to come hang out today. And then also people later that maybe watch the recording of this. And so I always like to lead these off and just say, like, hello, friends. Like, we don't actually know each other. We maybe have been in the same kind of channels, like been on X, maybe in the same threads. But I still, in that, say hello, friends, because like this world right now is just so divided. There's so many negative things happening in the news. And I think a lot of that is because around us, there's all these closed systems that divide us from one country to the next, from one company to the next, and just keep us apart. And so um, a lot of us, I think, are can really identify with that's just not working for the world. And so here we are trying to be part of building something better, something more open, that's permissionless, that's for everyone, that's equitable, that everybody has a chance to be part of, and to make a better life for themselves and people around them. And so like, it might sound cheesy, but I feel like that's something that we can build a friendship on. So, hey, friends. So, who am I? My name's Will. I go by W Bins on X or in Discord, just around the community. I lead community at Base. I'm also a developer. I've been developing really all my life, starting in Web 2 like in 2004. And then shortly after, I think the launch of Bitcoin, was kind of like looking at what is this thing, made the jump into crypto, and was just really amazed by like how is it that we can have this form of currency, this ability to transact with one another that's not controlled by one person, one group, completely antithetical to like 99% of all the things that we encounter in our daily lives. And so at the time, and so I was really drawn to that, and connected with the community. And ever since then, just more and more and more, within the span of like a couple years, right after the launch of Bitcoin, was able to just full time work in the space. And in that, with Bitcoin, we've all heard of it so much. Oh, actually, I hope everybody here today has heard of it. Anyways, like in that, we saw that there's all kinds of developer talent, enthusiasts, community growing around Bitcoin, and we realized that there's also some shortcomings, and in that, one of the big ones was like, hey, it takes a long time to transact. Like, we can't use this to buy a cup of coffee and reinvent like remittances in a lot of aspects. We need something faster. We also can't build like smart contract applications on top of Bitcoin script. Like, we can only really use this to transact back and forth. And so it's a really smart person, Vitalik Buterin. Also, some other really smart people around him came along and built Ethereum. And so with that, transactions weren't slow anymore. We can build smart contract applications. We can do all these new things. And we ran into some additional technical blockers. And one of the biggest ones is that although it was fast, as more people use the system, Ethereum, we saw, wow, it's getting too expensive. We can't use this to buy coffee and transact with one another. There's too many people doing things simultaneously on top of the network. And so, long story short, that's what brings us to today. Um, Base. What is Base? Base is a layer 2 network built on top of Ethereum. Base is Ethereum. All transactions on Base are regularly rolled up and checked in onto L1, onto Ethereum mainnet, as part of a roll-up transaction, which is what allows Base to be able to be fast, be inexpensive, and at the same time benefit from all the intrinsic value of what Ethereum is, the EVM, smart contract applications, opening a new era for us to connect the world together on chain. So today for our workshop, with that kind of preface in mind, we're going to be focusing on one aspect of the Base Around the World Build-a-thons, how any of you here can participate, and it's called No Code Base. And what that means is you can actually build on Base without writing any code. And like a perfect example of that, we did a build-a-thon back in June, and we had like a rewards track where we gave out prizes to people that built on Base without writing any code. And we gave out over $100,000 to people that were building on Base without writing any code. There was something like, I think, 40 different winners from all around the world. And so you all here today have the opportunity for that exact same thing in these different regions, where we're doing the first of 4 regional build-a-thons: India, Southeast Asia, Latin America, Africa. Any of you can build on Base, potentially win these prizes, and even more so, start an initiative. The most important part of this: start an initiative that creates momentum for yourself, those around you, in your life, and benefits them and creates greater opportunities. And so I'm going to touch on this a little bit more. This is certainly like, I said, I'm a developer at the beginning of this conversation, but for me, starting on Base, it actually wasn't even writing code. It was no code. It was building community. And that's something in particular I'm going to talk about today in this workshop is that any of you, as one opportunity in this build-a-thon, could start building your own community, and it can lead to even more opportunities for you and create a better life, not only for yourself but those around you. So um, anyways, with that said, anybody has questions, feel free to just toss them into the chat. I'll stop at different points in time. But I want to give you some materials here to help you get started. There's approximately a little bit less than 2 weeks left in the build-a-thons, but this content is evergreen in the sense that even after these build-a-thons are over, you can use this to start building on top of Base without writing any code. And that's going to also unlock opportunities for you, like potentially in the form of grants, other people that maybe want to associate their projects with you, a lot like alongside what you're doing. And so just keep that in mind as we start delving into these different things. And I see a question here from Rumi. Where will the recording be shared? So on the DevFolio YouTube, if you go to devfolio.co, click on the YouTube link, I think, which is at the bottom of the footer. You'll go over to YouTube. There's a live tab there, and this will be under there. We're also going to grab the recording. We're going to share it in the Base community, primarily the Base Discord, but you'll also see it on X and Farcaster, and we'll post it on the Base YouTube as well. So yeah, we're definitely gonna share the recording for this. So first and foremost, just want to dive in. If you're new to Base, the most important thing you can do as I start to share my screen is to head on over to base.org. And here we have base.org right here. I'd recommend bookmarking this page. This is going to be like your one stop before anything else to just spend about 5 or 10 minutes clicking through, just getting an idea of what is Base. And as I said before, Base is an L2 built on top of Ethereum, meaning that it takes all the advantages of Ethereum, and then in addition to that, has its own blockchain so that it can process transactions fast and inexpensive to then unlock a whole new um, landscape of possibilities for on-chain applications. We just call them apps because we really think about what we're doing as a new internet. And so, like, what does that mean? Well, early on, like maybe I think like in 2007-ish, 2008, we all kind of had in the world this, we all kind of had like dumb phones, we call them. Like we had these phones, maybe like it had like a calculator on it. You could play like Snake with your keypad, send a text message, you're getting really good at using the numbers to type really fast. We all kind of like had those phones. But then, like within the span of about 6 to 12 months, the experience completely changed for us. A new internet became available in the palm of our hands with the iPhone, where we started having all kinds of new apps, things we didn't even know that we might need. I remember like I wasn't one of the first people to get the iPhone, but then when I got the iPhone, I saw that, well, I can get like an app that lets me level something on my wall if I want to drill in a shelf or something like that. I don't even think that I even used that app. Just the fact that like I went from I can play Snake on this simple phone to like, well, I can actually use this for leveling something on the wall or converting Celsius to Fahrenheit and vice versa, stuff like that. It was just a whole new world of applications, a completely new internet. And, here we are many years later. The world has never been the same. We all have these smartphones. We all have our own sets of apps that we really utilize heavily day to day, many of them the same, others different, but ultimately it has brought the world closer together and enabled us to do many more things literally from the palm of our hand. And so alongside that, um, going back to what I said with regards to like in the early days of Bitcoin, we had all this critical adoption, so many people interested, leading into Ethereum, continued innovation, and now here we are with Base. This is actually one of the best times to be getting involved in this space, whether you're writing code, whether you're not writing code. We're not limited by the technology anymore. We're literally on the edge of a new era of open and permissionless applications that anybody can use, anybody can make, any community that anybody can be a part of. And the future generations of this planet are going to be using platforms that are open and permissionless, using things in the EVM, applications that completely are able to allow people to transact with one person on an opposite side of the world, allow somebody to work regardless of where they're located. I don't know how, many of you maybe have had the experience. I personally had the experience where you're working with somebody and they're like, oh, well, you're located here, so I'm going to pay you less because you live there. Um, that's not right. I feel like you should be able to, like, if you're a good content creator, if you're a good developer, it doesn't even matter whether you're 1,000 feet underground, if you're in Australia, if you're in Africa, if you're in North America, it's the person that you are. And so I think future generations, like, and it's really not that far away, it's already happening now, are going to be part of a planet where, like, we're one planet. And so in that, we need one open system that everybody can be a part of. So um, with that said, I'd recommend spending about 10 to 15 minutes clicking through here. As I talk about, we're on the edge of like this new internet that anybody can be a part of. I'm clicking here into, just as an example, like our ecosystem page. If you think about like the App Store or the Play Store, you have all these different categories of applications that you can download and use. Right now are the first days of, literally, that's like within the last year, but we're like, metaphorically speaking, in the first days of the new internet, where in front of us we have all kinds of new on-chain apps, just new apps that people are going to use, that anybody can download, that anybody can install, that anybody can be a part of. And so that's how big this opportunity is. And so you all, as people interested in contributing to the ecosystem, there's all kinds of ways that you can do this without writing any code. And so one of the first ways that you can do that is building community. And so what does that mean? Like, how could I participate, like, in this regional build-a-thon? Like, I'm in Latin America, I'm in Africa. Like, how can I submit a project that enables me to potentially win prizes, and then even more so, like, have like a meaningful change in my life, where I have like a new initiative now that is potentially, like, you know, generating income for me, like leading to new opportunities, a different shift away from the opportunities that I had before. And so um, I'm just going to spend a moment showing how, like, just in the June build-a-thon, people were building communities, and these are all people that won. They all won ETH for the work that they did. And so here on my screen first, I'm going to click in. This is Shredding Sassy. And so these were some winners from the June build-a-thon, this being the first one. And they didn't write any code. So you can see here their project tackles the complexity of onboarding users by creating engaging interactive experience for diverse audiences, including skaters. So it's just around one specific niche. And so in your community, if things that you're interested in online are something that you want to build a community around on Base, you can do that. And here I'm going to click into their website. You don't even need to be able to write code to make a website these days. There's all kinds of really easy Web 2 platforms that just let you drag and drop and create like on-chain experiences. And so you can see here, like just even with Shredding Sassy, like they deployed their own token. There's solutions now where you can deploy and create your own token without writing any code. And so I'd highly recommend just starting to go in, and if you go to our blog, base.mirror.xyz, and then you scroll down, you can bookmark this. But in particular, if you go to announcing the on-chain summer build-a-thon winners, you can check out like, hey, who are the people that like actually won ETH for participating in the last build-a-thon? This one that's going on right now, that there's still like over a week and a half left in. Check out all these unplugged projects. These are all projects that were doing things. Many of them had nothing to do with writing code. A lot of them were just about creating content. So, you know, just spending another like 10 to 15 minutes clicking through these projects, between cumulatively going to base.org, checking out what base.org is about, and then spending another 10 to 15 minutes within a half hour, you're already in a good space today to start being competitive, to put something together for this build-a-thon. And so in particular, I opened up some other tabs before, but I think I'll just like maybe let me just click into one. Like, for example, like for the children, this was one that I really enjoyed following along with during June. So this team, what they did was they registered for the build-a-thon in June, and then they used NFTs. Like you could go to actually, I'll segue to this in a moment. They created an NFT, and then purchasing the NFT would accumulate funding so that they could then go to the Dominican Republic, and like they're giving out books, school supplies, food, all kinds of stuff like that. And they filmed it. They made like a YouTube video. And so they're one of the winners in the June Build-a-thon. So like social impact, you could specifically like in your area right now, and let me come back to the point that I was trying to make with regard to like creating NFTs. Like I'm going to the ecosystem page here. If I click on NFT, there's all kinds of platforms here where you can create NFTs. One a really big popular one that people use is Zora. It's really designed to make it just super easy to create NFTs. So these are all right here, just like NFTs people are creating on Base. So you could use one of these to raise funds to make social impact. Like maybe it's some type of, you want to fix something in your community, you want to set aside like some funding to empower a group of people. Really, the sky's the limit. You can do any of this. Your creativity is what limits you, your imagination. So I wanted to highlight for the children there. Another one that really stuck out to me, let's see here, like people at Third Internet, helping people like in school connect with like what's on-chain tech, what's blockchain technology. Like I remember when I grew up and went to school, I'm like dating myself now, but I'm 42. Like when I was going to school, I think I spent maybe 3 or 4 years learning how to write in cursive. Like, and I have never write in cursive, maybe to sign something. And it's not even in cursive. It's just because over time in my life, I'm like, oh, this is, everybody's got their own signature. I'm not doing a specific type of cursive. And so what if like I had spent 3 or 4 years instead, like learning how to program or something, or, you know, like connecting and using this new type of technology that's going to be the internet. And so fast forward to today, there's people in the educational system right now that are still not really connected to tech that's going to be completely relevant to them later in their life. And how much more beneficial would that be to them? How much greater could their life be if when they're ready to go out into the world, they already understand all this type of tech that they're going to be encountering. And so thinking about that like is another opportunity. And just like in terms of like just as like a side idea for like no code base, like something that you could do like as an initiative. There's lots of places in the world where like, let me just take as an aside. Like I grew up in Arkansas in the United States. It's kind of like an agricultural state. Um, Lots of parts of the state are really rural, where a lot of the opportunity is diminishing uh, each year. People are born and they kind of move to other cities and move to bigger cities. And so like the cities are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And like the opportunities in a specific area are very limited. There's like not a lot of work. There's just kind of like, a big challenge that you need to maybe go somewhere else to have like a better life, to have more opportunities. Well, for me, like I was able to unlock better opportunities by connecting to the internet. Like all of a sudden, it's just this like new world of I'm talking to somebody in Singapore, I'm talking to somebody else in Sao Paulo. It can be anywhere. And then when Bitcoin was first launched, and then like over the years, I've gotten more entrenched in working on chain. Like I'm able to work with people that I've never even met before. Like it's completely open economy, and so like I feel in the future that people should be able to ideally live wherever they want. They should be able to work wherever they want. And that shouldn't be dictated by like, oh, well, you live in this place, I'm going to pay you this much, or you live in that place, you can only work on these things. Like, I think everybody should have like an open opportunity. That doesn't mean that, it should be free and easy. I kind of think of it more like the internet, the on chain economy is like our free gym. Like it's there. We all have the ability to go into it, but only we can exercise each day to then get the results that we want. And so, but again, like connecting with people, helping them understand, like in different communities, here's how like you can start being a part of a community on chain. You can join the base Discord. You can become a part of it. When I first came into this, there's become more and more communities, but now there's just like thousands of on-chain communities. And so like you as a person that wants to be more active in the space, chances are like any one of these apps has their own community. And so there's all kinds of things to do that don't write code. Maybe it's helping them like translate. Maybe it's helping them create a blog talking about what they're doing. Maybe it's helping them moderate, helping them keep like spam out of their Discord. It's maybe it's doing like design work. Maybe you're a graphic designer. Maybe you're doing YouTube videos. Like it's just the list goes on and on and on and on. And all of these projects need that kind of help. And so like Base is the front door for connecting with an on-chain economy. So that said, I just want to check to see if we have any questions in here. Thank you, Anshuman, for sharing a link to the Mirror post. Yeah, and so Kaki, you mentioned, please don't forget to link social media profiles for X and Warpcast. So let me go ahead and type that in right now. It's just x.com/base. And then also warpcast.com/base. And then you can also get to these links from any page on base.org. You just right up here in the top right, it's our socials. So Farcaster, Twitter, and then also from the bottom of every page as well. And so with that said, just wanted to kind of go through some more examples of like building community. Again, highly recommend going to this post where we highlighted the different winners from the June Build-a-thon, going down to the unplugged section. And then you'll see that there's about, I think, 40 different projects. Yeah, here it is, that all won. And the majority of them were from writing no code. And so, first and foremost, let's start going through one of the easiest ways that you can submit something for the Build-a-thon without writing any code. You could do a meetup in your town. You could film your meetup, take pictures. And so, like right now, as an example, I'm going to share another link, Base Meetups on Luma. And so I'm going to post this into the chat box. If you go to the Base Meetups page on Luma, you can see that today, tomorrow, people all around the world are doing meetups. So like you could host a meetup like this week, next weekend, get together with some friends, go to like an existing community, um, write a blog post about it, like shoot a YouTube video, like highlight in your submission like what you did to help create an experience to connect like something in your community off chain, on chain, offline, online. And so just even clicking through some of these different ones, you'll start to get an idea for like how other people are doing it. And I think I saw that maybe Lawrence, you said you have a question in the Q&A. Cool. So I see we got a couple here. Lawrence said, "Good morning. My name is Lawrence from Lagos, Nigeria. I currently joined the Base Build-a-thon. I'm not a developer, but a voiceover artist and a content creator. How can my skill help in the Build-a-thon? Plus, I'm not even in any team. Can I work on something like a content and use it as my Build-a-thon, more like an ad for Base?" So Lawrence, I think that's awesome that you have like experience like as a voiceover artist and a content creator. I would recommend putting together like a YouTube video. Like here's one that won in the June Build-a-thon. This one's just called Meme Ambassador, and this person just drove around going to like the highest point. I think it was in from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and just filmed it, put together like a really cool video. And like I said, they won. That's all they submitted was the YouTube video, and that's also on that link, Memes Ambassador, on our blog post. So like just as an idea, Lawrence, like for something you could do, like you could do an educational video like about Base, helping people there, Nigeria, West Africa, Africa as a whole, like learning more like about how they can get started using Base, or even better, like something that's like very interesting to you on Base, putting a lot of time into putting a great video together about that, because the chances that it's like really interesting to you are higher that they'll be really interesting to others if it's something that you're creating that you're very passionate about. So yeah, I think like put together a video, since you're a voiceover artist, like I'm sure it probably sound good, and start sharing some content. Maybe it's a screencast about something on chain. I think you can submit that and check out the Memes Ambassador submission to get an idea just for one way of doing it, like with a YouTube video. So you could totally do it differently as well. That was a cool idea. Also, I think from Lemuel, if I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but you could upload your voice on Zora as an NFT. Yeah, that's a great one. I've also seen creators on Base where they like do like a podcast. You can upload that to Zora. You can upload it to another one is sound.xyz. I just posted a link in the chat. You could do like some type of art project. You could like people here that are listening, if you're a musician, you can write a song, you can make one of your songs like on chain into an NFT. These are all ways that you can do things without writing any code. So that said, see another question here from John. Please, in onboarding businesses on chain, are there any advantages in terms of access to local marketplace? Yeah, so very much so. There's benefits like to onboarding like local merchants. In some parts of the world, like it's, you know, we have a luxury of being able to use things like a debit and credit card. In other parts of the world, people are like, oh, you want to use your debit credit card? It's going to cost 10% more. Some places you can't even use it at all. And so that limits people's ability to be able to do business with each other. Ideally, you think like in a time in the world where we have things like virtual reality and like SpaceX, we can just, you know, fly up and back and forth into outer space and stuff like that. We have iPhones. That'd be really easy. Like probably no problem at all to be able to just transact with each other like in seconds. But unfortunately, that's not the case for billions of people. So like 100%, like helping people be able to start using something like Coinbase Wallet, helping a merchant be able to start accepting payments using Coinbase Wallet is a great example. And the reason I bring up that is because like now on Base, it actually is less than a cent to transact with another person. So if I wanted like another person here that's like, let's say you, John, like I want to buy something with you using Coinbase Wallet. If I paid you in USDC, if I paid you in EURC, new Euro stablecoin, that's actually free. It's nothing. There's no fee. So that means like at the core, whatever you're selling me, I can just transact with you immediately and pay no fee. You have no fee as a merchant for accepting my payment, and you get it in 2 seconds. Immediately, it's in your wallet. So, like, imagine like what we'd be doing right now if as a planet if like everybody in the world could pay each other for free and they would receive their funds in 2 seconds. We'd probably like be teleporting right now to all be sitting in a room and then leaving in our flying cars or something. So like it's now's the time to be doing those types of things. These old systems where like I'm gonna send you money, I'm gonna send you, you know, a wire, whatever type of like, you know, branch office to do like a cash transfer. It takes days. That's like it might as well be like the 1800s or something like that, and we should take our horses, you know, to ride to the next country. It's like the time is now to build on chain. So anyways, yeah, John, I think that that's like a huge advantage is like everybody should be able to transact in seconds at no cost with one another. So if it's like a no code project, you wanted to submit something like, hey, I went around in my town, I got XYZ businesses, they're going to start accepting crypto. Like, I think that's a great submission. Like just if everybody could get like 2 or 3 businesses to start accepting crypto, eventually there'd be more businesses that accept crypto that don't. So, you know, the there's kind of like this, what is it? The saying, like a butterfly flapping its wings off the coast of Africa is what starts the momentum to form a hurricane that crosses the Atlantic. Like, I think that's kind of what we're doing now as builders. And it's to be a builder, you don't just have to write code, you can build community, you can build a network of more people that accept crypto. And just like that's that slight flutter that starts that momentum to where maybe John, somebody else that knows John, oh, I saw John do that, I'm going to do this. Like it starts to create more of a viral effect. And that is in the end what creates the great change. So um, I see another question here from Safaraz. I'm a freelance graphic designer. How will my skill be useful for the Base community? So, yeah, like you are in demand. What I would recommend doing is heading on over to the base.org/ecosystem page and just start checking out these apps. Like, there's hundreds and hundreds of apps, hundreds and hundreds of communities, thousands of different tokens on Base, and people that know how to do multimedia work, create graphics and whatnot, are in high demand. So I guarantee you, if you spend some time, just start going around these communities saying, hey, I'm a graphic designer, here's my portfolio, I want to start helping you all build more on Base, what can I do? You're going to start getting people asking. And so, like, as an idea for a like build-a-thon submission, similarly to John, instead of going to merchants, like helping them start accepting crypto, maybe you, it's like, I joined 20 different communities. I started doing logo work to help them put their brands on chain, to help them have visuals that connect with more people to get them on chain. Like, putting that in the submission is that's an awesome submission. So that would be my recommendation there. And then I see another question in the chat from Juliet. What if I made a couple of videos and used Dracula instead of YouTube? How do I submit those videos? So Juliet, like, you can get the Dracula app, create the videos, and just share the links to Dracula for what you created. Put that in your submission, and then done. That's all you had to do. So that's a great way to go about being part of building on Base without writing any code. And then with that month, I think we've been together for about like 45 minutes. I wanted to just make sure we still had time in case people have questions. Also, if people are watching this later and realize, like, oh, I wish I don't know this, come on over to thebase.org/discord. So that URL for the Discord is base.org/discord. There's like over 400,000 people in there. At any given point in time, there's usually about like 20,000 people online. I'm in there. So you can tag me and say, hey, Will, I was watching the workshop. I had a question about whatever. And it doesn't have to be related even to this. Like, we're all trying to help each other. And so, like, really anything related to Base, like, as part of this ecosystem, like, I'm an open door for that. And so just like on that note, I just wanted to mention, like, just kind of a personal aside for my own story, like getting into Base. And so, like, I've been in this space a long time. I know how to develop and write code, but that's actually what not like what got me this opportunity to be part of the Base team. So, like, here is the Base Discord. And so, like, here I'm just talking about how we just added a channel for people in Greece. We're adding new country channels in the last days. But about, like, I'd say a year and a half ago, a little bit more, I was thinking about what I wanted to do next, like in crypto, on chain. I was kind of coming to the end of what I was working on at this one company. I was thinking about trying to start my own thing, but I knew I wanted to do it in the layer 2 space. I feel like this kind of arena where it's cheap to do things on chain, it's fast to do things on chain, like two big hurdles that have prevented a lot of people from coming on chain over the last decade. Like, this space being like one of the best to be in because you don't have those limits. We're actually unlimited in all these types of big unlocks to make a better planet. And so I knew I wanted to do something on that front, and I saw that Base launched right around that time. I think it was like February 23rd or something like that. And so I joined this Discord, and at that time there was only, like, I think a few thousand people in this community. And so I was just a user. I just joined the community. I didn't know anybody that was in this community. And so but I know things about Ethereum. I know things about Bitcoin. I know things about crypto. And I've gathered experience from using it over the last decade. And so I really felt like this is the beginning of something big, because there's, first off, one of the most well-known companies in the space, Coinbase, backing and incubating Base. Uh, and some of the most talented people from Coinbase, from other parts of the ecosystem working on Base. I felt like this is kind of like a time where if we think back to like the space race, before we had like rockets that could go to the highest of altitudes, that could exit the atmosphere, like what kinds of um, minds were getting together to um, solve these like really challenging problems. Like, how do we go to outer space and come back without dying? Like, and doing it again, scaling it up, like being in space alive. And so that kind of parallel to like where I feel like we are with building Base is like we've entered a time where we've had some big technical breakthroughs where it's cheap, it's fast, and now like some of the most brilliant and talented people I've ever met are working on this and solving this problem. So I I just started like volunteering in this community, and I just started answering questions. When I saw people answering questions, um, I started just being one of the most active people in this community. And there was like a few thousand people at the time. And then every day, like more, a few hundred, every week, a few more thousand people would join. I'd message Jesse. I'd never met Jesse before. I just messaged him on DM and was just like, hey, I have these ideas, how to make the community better. I think we should do X, Y, and Z. I spent just time like writing content like I think we should change this, I think we should change that. And he was listening. And so, but still nothing. Like it wasn't like, oh, okay, let me hire you. Like come join the Base team. Come work at Coinbase. And so I just weeks for months. I became one of the most active users in the Base Discord, just answering people's questions, trying to be helpful, building community. I wrote no code. So that was my experience on no code Base. And after a few months, I got invited to come work at Coinbase on Base. I was one of the first people that got hired full time to come work on Base. And that was without me like, oh, I worked at Coinbase before or anything like that. I just saw an opportunity and got involved. And so um, kept working more and more. And so over the last year and a half, I've just continued to contribute in a lot of ways to this community, building community without writing, most of the time without writing any code, and have gotten the opportunity now to lead community at Base. And so the reason I tell that story is not to like tout myself or like brag or anything like that. It's to say, coming back to that analogy that I gave before, this open economy is like a free gym that any one of you can be a part of right now. The gym's open. Right now, you can come be a part of any community. You can start building community. You can start creating content. You can make art on chain. You can make music on chain. You can do all kinds of things on chain without writing any code. And it's equitable. It's open. Any one of you, if you put in that time and you work hard enough, without a doubt, can unlock new, better opportunities in your life. And so that's just like what I would leave on with regards to this workshop. I really appreciate you all, again, just sharing time to be here today. And if you have any questions later, feel free to join the Base Discord and hope to see you and send a smile emoji there. So thanks again.
Thanks for the great session and all. I mean, I think it was really insightful for folks who have joined today and who will be seeing the session later, like on how they can contribute if they don't know how to code and still want to be involved in the community and all. So, like in my opinion, really great session. For folks who have joined us today and the folks who will be watching the session later, we'll be hosting the mentorship hours as well as another session on what makes a good Build-a-thon project in the upcoming week. Announcements for that will be shared in the community as well as on your emails through which you have registered for the buildathon. So stay tuned and look out for the emails and announcements for that. And thank you again for joining us today and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye, folks.
Cool. See you all. Bye.